All right, I just wanted to respond to a video from Bro Hajjis. He made a video about Al Qurtubi. Let's just hear it real quick.
That he mentions that it's imperative, or majority of the mutaqaddimin and mutaakhirin mention that it's imperative to free Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from direction and move me. Okay, he mentioned that this is the qawl, hadha al-qawl, okay, and it shows his justice. He mentions وَقَدْ كَانَ السَّلَفُ الْأَوَّلُ, that the early salaf, now he's talking about the verse ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْأَرْشِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rose above his throne. He said that the early salaf لا يقولون بنفي الجهة, that the early salaf did not deny a direction for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Imam al-Qurtubi saying it. ولا ينطقون بذلك, and they did not speak about that. Like they did not negate a direction for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Imam al-Qurtubi saying.
So, one of the things that Salafis often do with this is that they claim that he was saying, nor did they. So, you see how he's saying bidhalika? This is obviously a pronoun. And in the Salafi, I wrote a little thing here. Let's just look at it. Right. This is the Salafi translation. I think it's from Abu Liyad's website. Uh, it says, never used to speak with the negation of direction, nor did they express that, right? And in parentheses, see the word that, he puts in parentheses negation. And the Asharis also translated the same thing, which says, nor did they pronounce that. And for them, that is the jiha, the term jiha. So anyways, I kind of went down here, and let me just try to make this quick for you. Albani wrote in his introduction to the Ulu of Al-Dahabi, he wrote, it becomes clear that the word jiha, direction, is not mentioned in the book and the sunnah, and accordingly, it should not be affirmed, right? So when he says over here, Al-Qurtubi, let's analyze it. Let's look at the Ashari translation, right? Rather, they and all others uttered by affirming to God as his book uttered, right? So what the Salafis do is say, when he's saying rather they affirm to Allah as his book uttered, they try to argue that he means the direction, right? And this is what Abu Liyad puts in his translation. I did not add these parentheses. He said, rather all of them spoke with affirmation of it, right? And the pronoun for it is al-jiha, the direction, which is wrong because the Albani said that the Quran did not, and I don't even think he puts that in there, right? It says, as his book uttered, specifically uses the word uttered, natakaha, right? And the word is not uttered in the Quran or the Sunnah, direction. So when you use the word it here and you try to use it as a pronoun to replace al jiha, it's not accurate because, well, actually, he does translate as his book spoke with it, right? The Quran and the messengers did not inform us of the jihad, right? Albani says these terms were not used. And then he says not a single one of the righteous predecessors denied that he did istiwa in reality. So what he's really saying is rather they affirmed what was in the Quran and the Sunnah, which is the istiwa, right? So in this context, he's not talking about directions. So one thing that you could hear even Bro Hajji, we'll listen to him real quick. I'll explain.
Saying this, the justice. بل نطقوا هم وكافة, and they spoke, meaning the Salaf, and the rest of them, meaning about those or of those at that particular time, that they established, okay, or they affirmed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above.
See, so he says is above, meaning that the way he understood it is that Al-Qurtubi is saying that they affirmed the direction, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying they only uttered, right? It literally says natakaha, what Allah uttered, natakaha, right? What did Allah utter in the Quran? Did he use the word jiha in the Quran, right? Albani says he didn't, and it's true that he does not use this word. So, they're misrepresenting what he's saying here. It is true that he did say that Allah ascended his throne in reality, right? But he did not. He actually goes on, and let's look at it real quick.
In a direction, okay, as it's been,
Wait,
is above. in a direction.
See, he even says in a direction, even though that term is not used in the Quran or the Sunnah. So when he's saying they only pronounce affirmation of what's in the Quran and the Sunnah, he means terminology that originates from them. So when he says here bidhalika, la yantakun bidhalika, it means they did not use the term al-jiha, right? And that's confirmed by Albani, who says not only does he say we should not use that term is not in the Quran and the Sunnah. So let's keep going.
Okay? As it's been mentioned in his book, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it.
Which is not, it's not mentioned, right? Go find me the term jiha in the book.
And what his messenger has informed us about. Then Imam Qurtubi,
you know, the Prophet never uses the word jihad. He never says Allah is in a direction. You can try to, say, you can reason your way into that, right? You can say, oh, but he implies it. That's different from saying he used the term itself. He did not, which is what Al-Qurtubi means. La yantakun bidhalika. Yantakun, sorry, I'm pointing with my real finger. What I mean is to show, la yantakun here means they did not pronounce it, meaning the word did not come out of their mouth. They only, let's find the word. Nattak means pronounce. What came in the Quran? You understand the words, the terminology. Bila nattaku. That means pronounce. Like the words have to come out of their mouth. The word jihad did not come out of their mouth. You understand?
mentions it and what his messenger has informed us about. Then Imam Qurtubi mentions with the arrows over. He says, وَلَمْ يُنْكِرْ أَحَدٌ مِنَ السَّلَفِ الصَّالِحِ, that none of the Salaf al-Salih denied what? أَنَّهُ إِسْتِوَى عَلَى الْأَرْشِهِ حَقِيقَةً, that no one of the Salaf.
So, one of the differences between the Salaf and the Salafis in this particular thing, right? If you look at Ibn Uthaymeen and Ibn Taymiyyah, they try to define the word istiwa. These different definitions, they list several of them. One of them, for example, that the Salafis prefer is the term ulu, meaning height, right? So, one of their understandings of istiwa is height. Now, what he says, and we'll look at what Al-Qurtubi says real quick.
Denied that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or above his arsh is literal. None of the Salaf denied it. Not one of them denied it. And they basically talk about the arsh. They specify that the arsh is one of the أعظم المخلوقات, is one. They basically did not know, or the Athari Musbita, they don't basically, they are unaware of the kayfiyah.
Right? No, they don't know the kayfiyah and they don't know the hakika. Now, for example, right? Al-Nawawi, or in the Salafis claim he's one of their scholars, in his Sharh of Sahih Muslim, he considers specifying that Allah is in a direction. He considers that to be delving into the kayf. Now, it's possible that that's also what Al-Qurtubi meant. So when he's saying they did not know the kayf or the hakika, what Al-Qurtubi is saying is they did not delve into how he's in istiwa, right? Meaning that it doesn't mean automatically that he's in an upward direction. And he actually explains what he believes the creed of the Salaf is, Al-Qurtubi, and we have it somewhere. So he mentions the creed of the Salaf in terms of the attributes in his Surah 229 Al-Qurtubi, his tafsir. He says, this is the approach of the Salaf. We read it and believe in it and we do not explain it, right? That's very significant because, and there it is, right? Most gracious over the throne. They don't explain it. But the Salafis do explain it, right? They say it means ulu, or, they give it different definitions. Malik never went that far. And then he mentions the Salafi position. We read it and explaining according to what the apparent meaning that the language implies, right? And he says this is what the anthropomorphist says. And that's very similar to what the Salafi position is. They really tried to delve deep into what it means and, try to extrapolate a deep understanding of it, right? Explain it. And this is actually the creed of the Salaf because, for example, as Shaybani transmits a famous statement, Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Uthaymeen both quote it, even though it doesn't agree with them, where he says, as for the attributes, the jurists of the East and the West all agreed on affirming it with silence and without explanation. which is different from the Salafi position, right? Because they'll say, yeah, silence, we agree with that. Taskit. It doesn't matter what they say. We look at what they do. And if we look at the books of Ibn Taymiyyah, they go deep into what this means and what it is. So when they use the word dahir, the literal meaning, they have a different understanding from somebody else who might have used the word dahir. And that's about it. I don't really have anything else to say. I was working on a history book. I don't know if I'll publish it, but this is like one of the parts of it.